Hey y'all, Jedi Fuka here, and we got another Dragonheir video. I want to go over Ancient Battlefield because there is an event right now where you get some extra materials for doing this one. So this is the team I'm using. I also use another team that I'm using on stage 8. I want to show you guys stage 7. This team works full auto for the first half of the boss fight, which I'll explain why as it's going. The adventurer right here, when I'm on stage 8, I actually use Cypherus instead. My tank, I'm using Furbath, so you can see his stats right here. I'm using him for the extra healing. So this team is really healer heavy. Hixandra, using her for the heals. Now Voresh, he is actually my damage dealer with this Gambler set. If you guys have a good Gambler set, it works really good on bosses from what I'm finding. My Voresh does amazing damage on bosses. He doesn't work good in PvP with this, but for PvE, it's absolutely amazing. My adventurer setup, he is still set up with a lot of attack. I didn't really switch anything other than moving him over to ice. And then Dane here, you want to make sure he has enough accuracy to land his debuff removal and attack penalty. So for the first half we go full auto. Dane is set up so he's always going to use his decrease attack and remove debuff before this point in the boss. As you'll see right there. Every now and then we miss that remove buff, but that's alright. That's why we have everyone else to support this team. So Ice Shield is there to take some hits so we can keep healing. My Voresh here is very squishy, so I wanted to move him close to Muddy Demon. In my stage 8 team, when I bring in Cypherus, I usually move Hixandra out of here because she's a little more survivable. So what I wanted to tell you guys is for this boss, for this move right here, but only, it has it twice, but only on this one, he does a debuff removal that then gets him to get that extra damage to use against you. So what I've been doing on the higher stages is I bring Cypherus in, and as soon as he uses this move, I use her special to increase everyone's defense. So then her special will have a defense up for this portion, and then it soaks up a ton of damage, so it's easy to keep your health up. With the decreased defense on her, I have to manual it, which is why I'm showing this team, because it's a little more user friendly. I still got to get her speed tune, but if you guys want to bring in someone who has like an increased defense or something like that, that's going to help your team out, you just want to try to speed tune it to where you're getting it at the right time on there, and it's going to work out great. So we hit that past halfway point, and now I'm going to show you for Dane. You have to go to auto with him because he starts increasing his super or his ultimate a lot once the health bar is below half health, because his ability, when he uses his A2 ability, it's going to jump that up. So if you don't turn it to auto, he'll use it early, and sometimes he doesn't gain it in time to use it again. Although sometimes he can use it twice during this bar, which is ridiculous. But to be on the safe side, turn it off, use it right there, get the buff removal, decrease attack going on the boss, and then continue our damage. So this runs pretty easy right here. I wanted to show you guys this on 7, so if you're struggling, this will give you an idea of how to set up a team. For those of you who don't have these champions and you need something else to work in, if you have an increased defense champion, you can still use it on this dungeon. The two things that can help you for using any champion that's going to give you buffs in here is going to be, like I said, either use it right after this final move here so it has time to drop off your characters before the removal comes back around, or what you can do is increase your character's resistance, and then he just doesn't get those stacks at all. As you see, we got a few right there towards the end, but if you have a high resistance, you'll resist him removing them, and then he doesn't get the stacks. You don't have to worry about it. So if you already have a resistance team, that's another way to do it. And we'll go over to the characters real quick. So for her, whenever I use her in my team, like I said, I'm using her on stage 8, but she's just not booked out yet, and so I don't have her speed tuned very well. So The other issue with using an increased defense is if you don't speed tune them, you're going to need to manual that character and you're not going to be able to do a full auto run. Now with Dane, I'm using him because I have him built out. And so he has the buff removal while dropping this attack penalty. You could go down to the rares. There's Irina. She probably does this better than he does because you're going to be able to speed tune her a lot better than you will Dane, just because of the way his ultimate works. The reason I'm using Dane is because I have him built and he already does that removal, so it's great. Any other champion that you have that removes buffs works good here. Also, his decrease attack does come in handy, but if you're using Furbath, he has a decrease attack penalty, or the attack penalty 2, which is a lot better. So you could speed tune him to where his attack penalty 2 is landing a lot more consistently. I just don't have him booked, so Dane's filling both those roles while Furbath is just there to help with the heals. But that's another good option for your teams. This dungeon's really not too hard. I would say you just want to definitely work on getting some good gear. As you could see, a lot of mine are in epic gear for my support champions. He's all epic gear. Hixandra, I did get her into legendary pieces. This is the one that gives her extra enlightenment, which helps her heals out. And then my adventurer is an all legendary. I've been doing a lot of farming on the dungeon, so that's why I have all this. So you do need to farm some dungeons, get some stuff up if you're not quite there yet for your gear. And then Dane here, I use the Crown of the Unclean, not just because of the defense penalty, but because it gives him that 72 accuracy. So he needs to have, if you're going to be hitting stage 8, at least 170 accuracy. So my stats are set up for that. Now my team lineup, I do have Hixandra doing my resistance tanking. She's only at about 170 resistance, which is what you need when you get to stage 8. So I have them set for stage 8. My characters in general had some decent resistance before I started playing around to get my damage up in this dungeon. But you can use anyone for that resistance role, just whoever you're going to have a good piece of resistance gear on. You just want to make sure that they're in the back. So because she's in the back and then down one, she's the furthest away, so she's the one taking that stun hit and resisting it. You can also move him right here and just have everyone in the front line. Doesn't really make a difference. I've also played around with the so-called tanking role for this dungeon. This boss is hitting everyone, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a tank who fits this role, which is why I'm using Furbath, because he heals the entire team. So you could easily switch him out for just about any other champion. I just like those extra heals, and then damage and heals. So this team is super tanky. It's one way to power through them. But that's the run, guys. I hope this helps some of you out, especially with that event going on. And like I said, just pay attention to the mechanics. If you want to bring in someone that has like an increased defense or increased attack, just time it out or increase your resistance on your team and you'll still be able to use that. Have a good one.